Hello and welcome back, everyone, to the Paladins Minor League. We're over here now in North America. My name is Pretty Hair, and I'm joined by Gore Miser to bring you this hot North American action. Our first matchup of the day should be an exciting one, right? It should be one of the hypothetically closer ones here in North America. Hype Unit versus Sanguine is the 1 seed versus the 2 seed, but you know, when you look at the records and kind of the way this phase has gone for Hype Unit, it feels like they've really cemented themselves as dominant and just above the competition.
Yeah, winning every single thing that's kind of been laid in front of them. And a lot of this, I mean, actually coming down, I think that one was a no-show last week, a DQ of some sort that comes down. So everyone that they've been here for, they've been able to win.
I forgot about,
that happened. Last week was the fun
that is a good
two-set day. But it's also a good set for them here. They've beaten Sanguine. They've played 3 times this phase. It's been 3-2, 3-0, and then 3-2 the last time they met. So they're following a pattern. This one will be a 3-0, and they'll be fine. But either way, it's always favored them.
Their only loss to the disqualification. So they're already locked in. That's sort of the attitude. I think, again, we've said this a couple of times at this point. Even if you are already qualified, this is probably the best practice you're going to be able to get up until the actual event. So take it seriously. You're definitely open to, you know, and I'm open as well to seeing more strategies, different styles of compositions. Not to say any of these teams are trolling, but with nothing on the line, this is, again, some of your best practice and some of your best time to kind of nail down a plan B and maybe even a plan C if you feel good about your kind of first line of defense.
Yeah, I look at Na'Vi as a good example, right? Once they know, you know what? We could probably coast along for a little while.
They hopped off that horse
Let's just
quick.
do whatever we need to do. Like, we want to try triple DPS. We're going to try triple frontline. We're going to play anything and everything we can.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to just be the best at playing regular Paladins. We want to be the best at Paladins. And at the end of the day, that's what's going to get you to be a world champion. So Hype Unit here, that's kind of the mentality they need to have. You need to be the best at everything you can do, or else you won't make it through the qualifier bracket.
Definitely have a lot of talent on this Hype Unit roster. Let's take a look at the map bans for this best of 5 minor league set. Stone Keep, Mortis Gate, going to be banned away by Sanguine and Hype Unit respectively. Bright Marsh, the second map, taken out by Sanguine, as well as Serpent Beach for Hype Unit. Those are what's taken out. Again, we got to focus on what's here and what's in front of us, these teams. And I think Na'Vi is a good example. I liked that stand that they took, but it feels like they kind of hopped off that horse relatively quickly as things kind of started to backslide on them.
It was that moment of, we want to be qualified for HRX, but we also don't want to, like, we want to practice everything and we want to qualify. They wanted to practice everything before they were guaranteed that they were going. Now, Hype Unit, they're guaranteed. They can maybe play around a little more and not stress too much. But there is kind of that mentality of, like, do you want to win or do you want to try whatever you can do? Because at the risk of a loss, try whatever.
Yeah.
But bear in mind that if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
For sure. Jaguar Falls is going to be the first map. I don't know that I would favor any team here too heavily, especially in a matchup like this. Snowball-y compositions I tend to like a little bit better here. I think Bright Marsh is safe to, it would be my safest bet for it. That is a snowball-y map. You're going to see teams go for that 4-0. Jaguar Falls doesn't necessarily lend itself to those really all-in, like triple front lines or anything, double supports or stuff like that. Jaguar Falls, you can do anything. So people do.
And that's probably one of my favorite things about this map. Also, a very good map for Bomb King and a few players that can pick that up and play it. On Sanguine, we've actually seen them, I think it was last week, willing to swap around. Poison and Neo both being able to come in and play blasters at the level that both of them do. One would play off-tank, one would play the other. Neo typically the off-tank so far this phase, but giving him a Bomb King's never a bad idea.
And into Khan as well, it's really all you can ask for as a Sanguine fan. If Hype Unit pick a Khan into your first pick Bomb King. Bomb King typically does better against Khan than most other front lines. Really, anything you can effectively hit over the top of the head, and the shield for Khan is like exactly big enough to cover him, not an inch more, not an inch less. And so Bomb King does very well around line of sights, of which there is a lot of on Jaguar Falls. Khan creates those line of sight around himself. So Bomb King does well in that scenario. The Barrack Ash follow-up. How do you feel about that?
I like it. I think this is leaning, I mean, well, Genos is already picked. It looks like Sanguine, like in this draft in my mind, it's a give us Genos, baby, and then that realization that they don't have it. Makes me think Furia, makes me think Damage Amp. Very good for this map, though. Barrick puts down a turret kind of hidden around one of the pillars on the point. Healing Station keeps him going. Of course, we've talked about yesterday and you know the last few times if you've watched the broadcast how high his effective health can really be.
Yeah.
It's not burning down 3,500. You're burning him down like 4 times in order to truly kill him. So he's sitting up there effectively at like 9,000, 10,000 HP. And with Healing Station and a good healer behind him, he's probably one of my favorite point tanks on this map for pretty much the same reason I have as Fish Market.
A confident pick of the Strix here
Someone
on
call
Jaguar
Ninim.
Falls. Ninim or Stigma, I mean, one of those guys. A couple of those people just love to run this pick or a sniper pick on any damn map. And Strix is slowly but surely kind of proven that he is pretty damn strong on just about any map. I was wondering what pay-in might go. And I think it's safe to say Moji's kind of hit the mainstream on Jag Falls, at least. It's not common to see here, but I wouldn't say it's no longer a niche pick either. And I have a lot of confidence in him because he's like a beast of a blaster player.
Oh, yeah.
So seeing him kind of run around with confidence on a pick that has value because you might not play a lot against it is definitely a boon.
The only downside I think it'll have here is maybe the face-off against Bomb King. I think if you run into him, you need to turn around and get out of there. I think if he can get around to Strix, though, it's as easy pickings for the Moji.
Yeah, it's going to be a question of the flank versus the Strix. Which one of these kind of, you know, more niche picks, I think, in both. On Strix, whether it's Strix, whether it's Moji, finding more success. Let's get it down to the casters for game number 1.
Thank you guys so much from the desk. I'm here. It is fun. And I'm joined by Kresnik this time, my bestest friend in the world.
Okay, I'll take that.
I want to see what your reaction would be.
No, I mean, it's nice.
Yeah, thanks.
I feel better.
Good.
We're pretty good friends. Friends fun. I think that tracks. And this game should be good. Kind of less on the line for Sanguine, so I think maybe they're going to play with a little bit of less pressure on them. You know what I mean? Not really as worried about it. I think these are the talents from last game. Be my guess.
That makes sense, yeah. Because of the fact that there's no Fernando.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes with the talents once we get to see those. But Strix BK on this map for Sanguine seems pretty comfortable for them. Honestly, don't know who's going to be playing the BK. If it's going to be Poison or Neo. Hard to say. Okay, so Neo is going to be on the Blaster instead. Poison back to the off-tank role. Interesting there, but the sustain on Hype Unit, I don't know if they have quite enough with that Genos. They're going to have to end these fights quickly to let the Inara Genos kind of do what it has to.
They're grouping up together surprisingly, and for Stigma just to be in that window right there was a little bit too much, and then Vane's going to be the next one that gets burned down, forcing the remaining 3 to back up. Now here goes Baller Steve. Now here probably more than likely just going to end up being Ash. That was an unofficial quadra right there from Hype Unit.
I was about to say, you casting Emoji Quad, and you didn't realize for a moment that was, I thought you'd be freaking out over that pressure that Payne was putting on there.
But it was like, it
kind of did just look like Sanguine really didn't know how to deal with it.
That's what I'm saying.
Just let Payne walk in almost uncontested. Into contesting now, Vayne backing off a little bit. Stigma able to fire without too much pressure on him, but this wall in the way, the Vayne can get around it, but so that's a lot of silence cut off. They have to go through this little choke, and I don't think Sanguine will be able to do it.
Oh yeah, here comes the magic barrier to keep herself alive. Stigma does manage to at least get a pick onto Edgem, but the onslaught from Hype Unit just does not stop. Poison's on the point. He gets healed up by Baller Steve. They're at least able to actually get rid of Payin. And I know, Kresnik, I saw the chest grab because you have to know that shoulder badge distance, because it looked like he was actually about to fall off. I thought he was going to.
Yeah, that was as close as you can cut it with that shoulder badge for sure, but Poison manages to get away. I think someone did wrap around on the mount on the right side, but it looks like Stigma is watching that. And actually, they don't even try to go in. Had some pressure on the right, but give it up, back up, and Sanguine get the first point of the set.
Well, they get the first overpower of the set on Hype Unit side. Tay is able to overpower Poison. They get the pick, and now they're already being forced back just after they got the payload, but they have plenty of time left. Neo's 3-1, Stigma's 5-1, so they're doing pretty well. I mean, they have the credits to upgrade to their next tier in terms of items, but I mean, the Hype Unit ultimates are steadily building up. There are fights breaking out here and there. The King Bomb actually used to get away.
It's a spectator thing.
Okay, there we go.
Assert dominance into the boop actually knocks, looks like Payin off the map, and they follow up on Tay too. that extra cleanup from Stigma, they're going to be in a pretty decent position. They should be able to get forward and probably control this far left side and just keep these long angles to lock Hype Unit in their spawn. Still a bit of time till they have everybody. 5 seconds left on that Inara respawn timer. Cart halfway through and a minute and a half to push it. That's a lot of time. Don't have too many resources to see what they're willing to spend once the fight breaks out.
Gosh, Poison just gets melted once again. He's just pushed up a little bit too far on the just on the flank. Stigma's not able to follow up, or at least put, I shouldn't say it like that, he's not able to put out the damage that you need to be able to stop something like Khan Emoji. It is very, very difficult to try and find out your shots. Just try and pace yourself accordingly, but Payan's going in, man. He already found his opening. The Seismic Crash comes out as well, stuns Neo right around that corner. But no, they're stuck in the corner. They're trying to get away, and they do manage to get away, or at least for just for a second before Payan can actually flank around on the side. He gets the kill on him. Neo is able to pick off Payan, but the Dome Shield in the back line, he's still on the point. Both Edgem and T-Mac are just waiting.
Buying as much time as he can. Vayne actually gets lifted, but it's perfectly in an angle where he can't get shot. He'll be able to keep buying time on the point. Neo, way ahead of the rest of his team, trying to take a 2v1 and actually was close to winning it, but Enlightenment comes out from Edge to keep him alive.
That'll be a different story coming in the next patch, my friend, but at the same time, they will be able to at least push through main or watch the incoming enemies from Sanguine's side. And Payan once again on this right flank, he's getting so much mileage off of just being in this area right here. Poison actually body blocks him for a little bit, but he just dashes right through him. He waits a little bit for the magic barrier, and Stigma gets a good headshot to pick off Payan.
Big headshot hitbox on Moji means that's pretty easy to do. Wall goes down. Look how aggressive they're going to be. Snar's going to be the first to go down, and that's a lot of sustain on the cart that is out of the picture.
Yeah, agree with that. I mean, they've got the King Bomb once again. Assert Dominance is almost up, and Hype Unit are still in their spawn. They've got snack time. They've got through time and space, which they had through time and space, is how I should phrase that. King Bomb actually gets used. He's delaying himself just a little bit. It still gets used just to, it pretty much was used just to zone everybody back, right?
And that's perfect for the King Bomb. Honestly, it's tough to know for sure that you're going to be able to connect it on mid, so having a guaranteed use like that, you just roll it into the wall and get just as much value as going in. Perfect at keeping them a little bit delayed. Dethroner could have gone in with damage reduction with that Earthen Guard up, but he would have been chunked really hard from the King Bomb and been able to be focused down. So good use by Neo there. That's that and Inflame are the only two that are down, but Inflame, we know, charges very quickly. That'll be up pretty soon. Damage charts topped by Sanguine. 51k, 48k more or less for Neo on the other side. So great performance by them, and maybe they are looking better now that pressure's not on anymore. Maybe they just want to make a statement against Hype Unit today.
Yeah, maybe they do. I mean, going undefeated the whole season is not easy, and Sanguine are definitely looking to at least fight back against Hype Unit. If not, take a game. They're already on right. They're looking by statue. They know they're around there. He's pretty much pre-firing around these corners because he might want to peek. He's just taking the lookout. But they've got percentage on the point building for Hype Unit. I mean, they have comeback mechanic as well, meaning for every tick will be 4%. But Edgem, actually Edgem's pick off Baller Steve. They wrapped around, but Edgem was still cognizant of the fact that he needed to be right there. Waited, got the pick on the healer, and Stigma is going to go down too, but a nice sticky from Neo is going to get rid of Edgem.
He gets blocked at by Khan just like I did in our ranked game last night where you didn't protect me. Assert dominance in the backline, but it's going to get countered by the snack time.
Payan actually is going to get rid of Poison. I can't believe you did that to me. You brought that up? I can't believe that. 2 minutes and 25 seconds on Hype Unit, already 2-1. Sanguine are looking good, but Hype Unit just a little bit better at that comeback mechanic. I cannot believe you, Chris.
It was honestly just a great wrap by Edge. Edge didn't get spotted by Sanguine when they were holding that statue side, so Edge was able to come back around and get that flank onto Steve and get that free pick. Lack of knowledge really hurts a lot there. No Cassie in the game, no scout means you gotta spot everybody. The game's not gonna do it for you when you press E.
Oh yeah, I mean the damage reduction is a little bit too much, but good shots from Edgem. He was positioned right behind the cart, right around that rock. He was able to not only get Neo, but he was able to get Stigma as well. Another good shot on the Poison is gonna leave him low, but Payan's gonna finish him off. 1:45, and Sanguine are just not able to keep up with the pressure that Hype Unit are exuding right now.
Khan and Moji holding this right side. Pretty decent for sustain, but they shift it around. Want the Inara kind of to stop them from taking this. This area is very important because it directly goes towards the back line. Edge very important, but Edge is actually holding Secret. Poison got marked earlier and goes down. Pain dashed as soon as he got stunned, so he kept going. Yeah. Seismic Crash comes in, but doesn't really hit much of anything.
Oh, Dome Shield has to go down to make sure they actually don't push in. He has all 2 turrets that are up. They're all the way in the back line, though. They're pretty much pressuring spawn. Tay and the rest of them are just able to now attack Vayne from all sides, kill him, and now we're at a 2-2.
That was a great offense, I think, from Hype Unit. Seismic Crash used, honestly, with the way that Hype Unit are positioning Dethroner during these fights, Seismic is never really going to do a whole lot. So that being the ultimate you spend, I think, is great for the sake of the conversion. He's just holding the point while Sanguine rotate around him.
Yeah.
The odds of you hitting a great Seismic Crash aren't 0, but it's definitely low enough where you'd rather spend it in a guaranteed way. Damage Charger still topped by Sanguine, but paying 12 and 5 right now, and also ahead of damage on Edge, even after that monstrous round he had there, showing why Leon is still so good. He's also on a pretty high streak as well, through time and space available for him. That, I think, is one thing to look out for, whether they use it off of this spawn push or just use it once they find a checkmate a little bit later.
Yeah, 0, 4, and 6 for Dethroner. He's having not necessarily the best game, but he is doing exactly what he's doing right now. Standing on point. He's
And
providing a
things.
lot. Exactly, just the Nara things. He's just applying a lot of pressure from a lot of different angles, able to stand on point, has to back up. Of course, he's taking a little bit too much fire there, but the majority of Hype Unit are actually on the side once again. Tay's right behind him. He didn't know that Poison actually didn't turn around I'm getting deja vu. This is the second set in a row from yesterday that I commentated where somebody didn't turn around and something happened because of it. They picked off their support, and now they're in a bad spot.
That was just a genius play by Tay. He sat on the very edge of the map that whole time. Even if Poison checked his corner, he would have to have committed all the way over to see Tay, and that just opens things up. They walk in on Steve again, finding that hole that Sanguine are just leaving open. They still have point control here, though. They won the duels on the sides that they needed to. Tay's on his horse, potentially about to go in, and he overpowers Stigma at point-blank range.
And he actually is able to push him all the way off. They don't have their support, not have their support, their damage anymore. And Tay's gonna flank back around into this room right here. Yeah, right there. And pretty much open fire on so many different targets. They're actually stuck in there. Dethroner gets rid of 2. Neo, Baller Steve are down. Poison and Vayne is gonna fall last. Stigma was already gone. He just got back. But a good 2 good flanks from Tay were all that Hype Unit needed to control that point.
For sure. That fight was purely on the back of Tay, and it shows how important using your mount properly is. You really do need to make sure that you're not dismounting early, you're not staying on mount too long. I think Tay found the perfect balance, used it for a flank, got off when he had to, and applied pressure to the right targets. And now, Hype Unit 3 and 2 right now, potentially pushing this for the win, depending on how much Sanguine decide to contest it. Vayne getting dangerously low in middle, too, so Hype Unit might smell blood in the water once they get ready to go in, but just waiting for an opportunity. I think they're waiting to counteract a push potentially coming out from Sanguine.
Edgem is just sneaking ever so slightly, looking for an opportunity. He was able to get one good shot onto Neo, but Neo was able to return the favor. Now both of them were at half, have to respect each other a lot. Paying literally right around this corner. He's pretty much just stuck here. The Throner's trying to cover for him. He is healed back up. They did find an opening kill on the edge of him, though, during what could have been the last potential push. So they have to back off. Throner walls up. Tay also backs off on that side flank, trying to find an opportunity to open something up for his team. But Hype Unit is just going to have to wait until Edgem can get back.
That bunny hopping tech that we see Mutu do a lot is actually noticeably harder online, I feel. So seeing it on LAN during the PPL matches versus online during the PML matches, I think you'll see a difference in how far Pain can go with it. I think we see 1 or 2 hops max. Seismic Crash coming in, though, comboed with it through time and space, doesn't actually confirm onto a kill.
No, they don't, and they're forced back once again. The Dome Shield to be dropped directly onto point to make sure that the Throner, and not only just the Throner, but Tay no one can go up to try and enter contest range when that Dome Shield is down. The Throner's actually pushing on being really aggressive, and he actually walls Pain off, but thankfully he had the magical barrier, so he doesn't take as much damage as he possibly could have, or died for that case, but they are just converging on him in the back. He's pretty much just pulling Poison away from the team, but they already got the Assert Dominance, they got the King Bomb, Edgem with the Enlightenment, the snack time comes out from Pain. Now with the Void Grip, he actually what?
Hitbox must be different on a Void Grip target when he's in the cookie mode. I didn't know how to call it that, but cookie mode will work for me. Must be different, went through, it still was able to delay the Assert Dominance from doing much of anything, and Hype Unit is still close enough to fight this point one more time. Not sure if Dethroner is close enough to the cart. Poison's POV, we're watching the left side. Dethroner is right there, so they will have a final fight. Poison's at half HP. He might not be able to withstand the damage once Hype Unit comes flooding in.
Poison kept that shield up. Well, not Poison, but Tay kept that shield up. Almost got kinetic bursted off the side. Shoulder bash out to make sure Poison doesn't eat any more damage that he needs to. Once we heal back up, and Neo's able to land a good bomb. They're able to get the kill. Bombs are being thrown out from Neo. Tossing him right at the throner. He's going to go down too. Edge is in the back, trying to see if he can get a pick on Baller Steve or try and open up something in the back line. He's not able to do it, and Sanguine are able to tie it up 3-3.
The fact that Neo and Edge keep ending up in 1v1s is I think, just a testament to their styles of players. They're both the kind of players to do that. I mean, they were the DPS combo on a team called Big Egos. I think that's accurate enough to what we expect to see from them, and it's kind of been going back and forth. I honestly think Neo's had the edge. A lot of the ones that he's had the edge. A lot of the ones that Edge has won has kind of been off the back of enlightenments. That's just kind of Leon, though. You expect to win your 1v1s on the back of that. Neo has been pretty consistent, though, at taking the ones he can. Now, 3-3 score-wise. Ultimate-wise, not much to execute with on Hype Unit's side. They'll charge some as they go, but through time and space, without a combo, it's anything but guaranteed.
The life rip on Pain, tell me a little bit about that. What's up with that?
I think it stacks with the Rejuvenate card that he already has.
Okay.
Probably already running the life rip at base, so it just stacks even more to make him even more sustaining in the face of Cauterize.
Okay, that does make sense. So Throner's going to go around. He's actually going to give up point just a little bit to the Throner. You can see that he's thinking about going around. He's trying to apply that pressure in the backline. Magical Barrier goes up, but Sanguine very, very aware of what's happening. And Tay's in the back again. Where is this man coming from? Oh, he was in the same spot all the way back there, right behind that little corner right there. Through time and space, he's going to be able to snipe out Baller Steve. Edgem doesn't get the chance to use the Enlightenment or use anything to keep himself alive for a little bit, but they're focused on Vayne. They're focused on winning these side fights. Now they're going to go to point, and they're going to have an easier time with the zone. They do actually body block it. He makes it just in time.
That's brutal.
And the Serdamus to come up as well, but gets blocked immediately by the shield. That is even more brutal for Sanguine.
No damage. Tay actually can't damage anything. He was close to overpower. Could have had that counter, but didn't hurt anyone to be able to do it. 78%. They kept getting off the point on Hype Unit's side, so they gave Sanguine this refight, but Edge goes down to Neo on the side, and look how open things are for Edge.
Yeah, I mean, he just opened up a window of opportunity for him. The overpower actually got Baller Steve. Tay's around on the side again. He's going to end up getting the last hit. Edge is, but Stigma was able to kill Pain right before that final chomp from Moji right there. The King Bomb is going to come out. He's going to try and open things up, but a good wall, good awareness from the Throner. He's going to go all the way around. He's going to go to Tay. He's going to hit it, and that's going to be really good. Sanguine actually might be able to just finish this one off.
They have the potential to zone. Who can touch? Pain looks like T-Max in, but gets stunned in the last moment with the Fire Strike.
Good awareness from Baller Steve, and Sanguine, game one, taking a win over Hype Unit.
That was great from Sanguine, honestly.
It was.
The adaptation, burning down Pain immediately after hitting the snack time was huge, because all that ended up doing was saving the target that got snack timed, that got hit with it. They can't be damaged by anyone else. You saw Tay kind of turn around the corner like, ha! It was just a cookie there. You can't do anything to it. It's damage immune. It's one of the downsides to it. If you don't connect on it, you're saving them just a little bit longer.
Yeah, and it was just, I like the adaptation from Sanguine. At first, just Hype Unit were able to go around on these flanks. Tay was able to pull off on a lot of amazing flanks. He did really good that game, just presence of mind for sure, to be able to get a lot of these picks off. But in the post game, you talk a little bit more about how well it was that they were doing. But Sanguine on the other side, 121,000, 107,000, 106,000 for Vayne. And that's already looking extremely good. The healing was outdone by
I was going to say, can we talk about that?
Right, yeah, for sure. 201,000. A Genos out-healing a Furia. Now that's
by double.
Right, exactly. That's
in a
that's
4-3 game.
Right.
If it was a quick game, maybe and one team got rolled, maybe we could say, oh, that's expected. But the Furia team, Sanguine won.
Right.
They won with half of the healing. I think that's just part of kind of the overwhelming damage they did, and the targets the T-Mac had to heal. Moji with Rejuvenate in her base kit, just Throner with the Rejuvenate on Earthen Guard and all that. So great for them, but talking about flexibility back and forth, right? Neo and Poison have been trading off of the Blaster in the off tank, and shifting back into this role after not playing it for the majority of this phase. Neo's been looking pretty solid, I think, on this BK.
Yeah, the time in space, you heard it in the background, but I mean, he was just able to really just rotate so many different areas, and that's just the power of Bomb King, especially on Jag, where he's able to control areas like this. I mean, you already see it. Like you saw literally Tay could only really walk across that little boardwalk right there. Where else was he gonna go? He would be in other lines of sight, and that's just the power of BK.
One thing there is, I also think if Edge had been on that far backside instead of playing in secret and looking to flank, he could have been pressuring Neo significantly more, but he was kind of going for that flanky hero solo play. Maybe if he had been willing to take that more back angle, chip a little bit, play safer, that fight could have gone differently for Hype.
I agree with that. Yeah, it definitely could have went a lot more differently. But Hype Unit with their first game, well, not Hype Unit, Sanguine. See, that's how surprising it is that Sanguine is actually able to get a win.
Sanguine's gotten a lot of maps off Hype Unit. A match wouldn't be surprising.
I mean, they're doing extremely well already. Sanguine with a very, very convincing game one, a close one. But we can only see if Hype Unit are able to actually make this comeback right after this break.
INAP, powering the control room for the Paladins minor league.
There it is, folks. If that first game was any indicator of how the rest of this set is going to go, we're in for a real treat here. Pretty Hair and Goremizer back to bring you the analysis after game number one. I mean, a lot of great-looking stat lines, a lot of great-looking healing numbers, but when it came down to it, Sanguine was just able to control that objective a little bit better.
And a lot of it, I mean, we were kind of discussing it pre-game, where it's just like Strix versus Moji. Which one's going to have maybe a little bit more of a performance?
Yeah.
And each time their player kind of won the round or had something that went right for them, Neo kind of helped facilitate, I think, the Strix wins. They would just win that round, win the push. Then Moji goes big, wins the round, wins the push. And at the end of the game, Payan just wasn't quite hitting, I think, as hard as they were thinking out of that Moji. So far, a lot of teams, have been picking her up on Jag Falls. But really, Na'Vi is the only one that I've seen make her consistently good.
We were looking at that one kind of critical moment where the snack time connected onto, I think it was Ashe. The snack gets void gripped up, and it looks like Payan just jumps right through it. Doesn't get the kill. Had that gone their way, that might have been a completely different game. I think Tay, I want to commend him as well. Despite the loss, I think Tay did a really good job keeping a lid on Stigma whenever possible, hitting good clutch overpowers as well. We'll take a look at the map screen here and see where game number 2 is going to be, and it will be Ice Mines. Again, 4-3 victory, a narrow win for Sanguine in game number 1. Loved the set, the confidence of the first pick, Bomb King as well. I think it was really good into the con, right?
Yeah.
There was a couple of highlights where you see the King Bomb into con, which is not a play you can do without communication from the rest of your team that Battle Shout has already been used or is down or whatever. So they're playing really, really well around this Bomb King, and guess where else Bomb King happens to be pretty good on?
Does come up on Ice Mines a fair bit. We saw it earlier, I believe, as well. One of these is very, very prominent. I think Bomb King on this map comes through. Pip as well. Both are champions played by either of these teams, although I think I've seen Hype Unit pull out the Pip a little more often for Payan than I've seen it out of Sanguine. But they're going to opt for the Ashe first pick. If they ban the con, Ashe usually kind of skyrockets, so it's not too surprising to see her go up in priority. But this is a map, in my eyes, like a lot of these maps, you can have the front line make such a determining factor that maybe your DPS doesn't matter so much. Ice Mines is like the other way. Like the tanks, I feel like, only matter so much as how long can they stand on the point against each other, because everything that really matters is going along the rim.
Well, with Willowband out, 3 front lines. I like the response of the Barrett Cassie to Ashe because it's more likely that Hype Unit have to go into Inara as well. The game is super good against both those front lines. Grabbing the Victor early on. These teams are so funny. They stack up so evenly against each other in terms of like the characters they want to get at, right? Both these teams can play BK. Both these teams are phenomenal blaster players. But when you look at the stack versus Edgem and Stigma obviously being a real heavy favor towards the sniper, so might end up just grabbing Strix again.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
What do you
Strix,
think?
Kinessa, he's run both on this map. He's won with both on this map. So it wouldn't be too surprising if that was the end. The only downside might be playing angles against a Drogoz. But window fight, that would, in my eyes, go towards him in terms of favor, as well as potentially just an amount of damage done to Ashe and Fernando. I don't dislike Strix here. I think they might want something that could maybe fight a little more, but it would absolutely fit in.
Yeah, they have. The only thing is concerning is they have 2 frontliners that can really dive and get in your face. Sanguine go for the double point frontline. They take Inara away when given the chance, which, I'll be honest, I don't know how much that really hurts Hype Unit. I think Fernando pairs better with Genos, quite frankly.
I'll also throw out that,
you know,
in my mind, for some, and this might just be because he, again, was playing it before the changes, but Dethroner doesn't care if he has to play Ashe or Fernando. He's happy with either of those.
Yeah, Fernando, this is probably one of his better maps as well. I like what Hype Unit have put together here, but Sanguine as well. Very high tier listed character set. We'll have to see how they work together, though, down on Ice Mines.
Yes, we will. Sanguine, very, very happy for them to be able to take a game over Hype Unit. Once again, I'm Fawn, joined here by Kresnik, and we'll see how they'll be able to actually overcome the difficulties they had beforehand in game 1.
And, you know, I think Sanguine's draft could be so good. But to me, there's one big thing missing.
Okay, what is it?
They don't have a dismounting support. Who dismounts on that team?
That's a good point.
Nobody does, which means they're going to be at a massive disadvantage to this hyper-aggressive team that Hype Unit have drafted. How do you stop the tanks from mounting in? You literally can't. A Ying, I think, would have been a fantastic fit for Sanguine, having the ability to spam, chip them down, and kind of equalize positioning. If both these teams have the same positioning, Sanguine are significantly better at holding their ground and stopping Hype Unit from making any distance.
Right. I mean, it's really just a matter of, Payan's just holding this flank, literally right here.
Tay's still on his mount!
Same place.
That's so crucial in Ice Mines. I can't make that any more clear, that how ridiculously far he got.
Yeah. I mean, they are pretty much just set up exactly where you would expect them to be set up. A good fire spin from Payan, though. They're able to focus down Vayne, burn him literally and figuratively just from the amount of damage it is they're doing. The good wall, though, to keep himself healed up is going to allow him to live for just a little bit longer. But Stigma's feeling a lot of pressure from a lot of different angles. He's feeling pressure from the Victor. He's feeling pressure from the Drogoz. He's feeling pressure from Tay, just already on the side, which is why Neo has to watch it. Like, Hype Unit are doing very good at smothering Sanguine's defense right now.
Neo just left Poison, the angle to Poison a little bit alone, so Tay got some free damage, but he will be able to get away. Stigma does not hit that crucial shot. It's kind of a back and forth trade here. Tay has to commit into the sight line, but it's enough. It distracts him. Edge finds the first pick on a Poison.
Yeah, now he's just going to be able to literally do what he's been doing. Sit up here, and Tay's going to be able to do this. He's going to be able to dive the Maldamba. Baller Steve right here on the side. He's just opening fire, but Neo peeled back. He's at least able to get Tay off of him, but he's still alive. Shorebash is back. The shield plays such a pivotal role because now Vayne's gone, and now Neo has to find a way back to point, but no one's touching still.
They don't want to into the Strix on one side, Victor on the other. It's just not healthy. Payan has the Dragon Punch and is committing, but only Neo potentially waiting on the other side.
Oh, nice. He actually still gets the hit onto Neo. Baller Steve is able to finish off Payan, but still, Hype Unit at 72%, they're able to pretty much just control a lot of these flanks. They're sitting there. The Scout gets used. Good snake bite coming out from Maldamba on the side onto Tay, and because of that, they're able to do more and more damage. But at Assert Dominance, he backed up because he could tell Tay was about to use it. He disengage bolts him off of the Assert Dominance flag right there, and forcing Tay back. Doesn't get a chance to use the shield, but the barrage comes out. There's so many things that are happening.
It all connects onto the DR to Nara, though, so the only person who can survive the barrage. Poison now, 2 picks locking down this far inside. I don't know if Hype Unit can get back in, and they don't think they can either. All of them disengaging. Considering the timings of the deaths of their tanks, I don't think they have a chance to retake this at all.
66% and steadily climbing. Now we're looking at 90 for Sanguine. What Hype Unit had was a 99. But they're not even going to really make it back or even try to. Edgem actually got shot by Stigma right there. A good shot from him, especially with Tay and not Tayan, combine Payan and Tay's name. Tay being
not a
up
bad
there.
Name.
No, it's not. But Tay standing up there in the window, at least able to try and body block that. Stigma was still able to get that shot, and he's able to kill Payan.
Now they're holding strong here. Poison pushing up here, actually flanking onto Edge. Doesn't realize he's there, misses the shot.
Wow.
The only one that really matters, the Genosmark plus the lifesteal in the Victor build, do just enough to help him win that 1v1. And now Hive Unit, it is still a 1-for-1 trade. Tay goes down to Neo, so they have to give up a little bit of ground. But Edge is constantly, I think he's going to keep constantly looking for these flanks.
Yeah, he is, but when you got somebody like Stigma on the sniper, he's able to apply pressure in more ways than one. Such good shots from him. Now they're able to focus on the Dethroner. That cripple field actually ended up going down. They pick him off, and now they've got a minute 40 still. Kresnik, I'm getting deja vu, and I really hope this doesn't happen. But from yesterday.
Been in this place before?
Yeah, I've been in this place before.
Okay.
I've seen this happen before, because I've seen it happen twice back to back yesterday, but I don't think it'll happen today. But the
back
back door
probably won't happen.
Okay, all right, cool. I just wanted to hear somebody say it.
I'm just going to say it now. I'm going to make you feel better. It might still happen, but the odds are incredible.
Very, very slim.
Scout comes in, CC immunity, actually making Poison not get out. The Combustible would have saved it, but it can't with the Scout immunity up.
Oh, he actually just went in on Stigma right there. He was already pretty low. The invisibility to try and allow himself to find a way to get out wasn't available. Now they're trying to fight back on the edge, but everyone's just peeling back immediately for him. And literally Victor, I mean, he's fast, man. You can't really catch him. He does still get the kill, though, which is good, but they're just going to stagger out Vayne. He's literally at 1 HP right now.
Vayne, they actually probably could have waited even longer for that, but the healer was just coming back in. Vayne could have actually died on the spawn door for the enemy team, but I think he was just too far to make that happen. Now look at this pressure. Actually, Dome Shield coming out in the middle. They hit it through time and space onto Stigma. Dome Shield still making pressure, but Tay's so far in the back line.
Yeah, the barrage comes through just to be able to burst down those targets. They weren't able to get a kill with it, but they were at least able to zone them out, and now you see what Hive Unit are able to do. The ground it is they've already gained. Poison moved in to see if he could at least try and get a kill onto an already low target. Wasn't able to get it, and now Hive Unit are able to hold this. And now, one thing it is that they do have is the fact that they can dismount.
Honestly, Sanguine might want to just not commit. Look at the ult charge on Hype.
Yeah, they're not. I don't think they're going to commit.
If I were them, I would just hide. I mean,
Right.
they're kind of doing it, but they definitely shouldn't try any desperate overtime fights. Right now, they're battling on the side, but all they're doing is giving Fernando ult charge. Might not help, but Barrack charge is a little bit faster. That trade does end up pretty okay for them. No through time and space. Only Assert Dominance more or less up, and if they can find a way around that, could be an effective mid for them.
Good grenade toss from Edgem right there. I mean, this position is literally where you want to be as Victor. You don't want to move from here because it gives you access to so many different sidelines. You see him switching targets all over the place. You can see their bridge over there. You can see Barn. You can see Point. You can see on the right. Literally, there's no way in the world that you would not want to be able to be positioned there. And kudos to Edgem as well. The slash lines on Hype Unit. Tay's having a pretty ash game right now. Fernando is definitely in sort of a rough spot, but they're doing their job is the point it is that I'm trying to make.
Yeah, for sure. I think the tanks have been putting on a lot of pressure. It was a great assert dominance to start the mid fight from Tay on the last round once he finally got that charged up during that very, very kind of elongated mid fight. I want to see how they spend the ults here. It looks like Hype Unit does get the dismounts early. Tay makes it on mount very far to the right. He's all the way in. This could be a solid assert dominance if he does make it in. Charging the battering ram gets blocked, but they're stacking on him.
Nice. He actually does get the assert dominance, but only onto Barrett. Kinetic burst him back, and they're able to just gain so much ground off this. They have the seismic crash. Wall goes up so he can at least try and stand on it, but he actually walls himself off. Not able to do it. Dread Serpent to push the Throner forward. But actually, can we see the items real quick? Does he have resilience already? Like, has he already been prioritizing that? Because that Dread Serpent was actually pretty low. Yeah, okay, he has resilience too.
You kind of have to on Nando.
Exactly,
I mean,
yeah.
Against Seismic Crash and Dread Serpent, you're going to need to bust out the resilience to be able to stay alive as Fernando. Also, looks like he's running Brand 5 as well for even more sustained. Barrage comes in, Stigma wants to get away, but it's going to be so dangerous to re-peek those goggles.
Tay went all the way back into the back line to make sure that he could zone out Neo. He still goes down, and now the Throner gets walled off. He's pretty much just stuck there up until that wall actually goes down. 27% to 33, 1-1 score already. Poison actually went around the flank, gets the kill on the edge of him, and now Sanguine are in a better spot because now there's not a lot of places that Hype Unit can go that wouldn't get them killed. He actually got stunned right there from the seismic crash that Anara ended up throwing out to try and see if they can confirm that kill onto the Throner. They don't get it, and they're still forcing the rest of Sanguine back, but a good Dome Shield actually coming out from Sanguine to not even let them gain any ground whatsoever.
A second Dome Shield charged pretty quick by Neo. Kind of locks them in. Don't even need to use the wall to get them off the point. And I got to say, one micro thing from that fight that I want to point out. Props to Vayne for his cooldown usage there on the Inara. His timing on the DRs were actually really great. He was holding it until after wall sometimes, and under the pressure that he was by Edge, I think that was a great pick. And you can see here, still microing his cooldowns really well. Blocks Tay, helps Edge go down, and just an absolute force right now for Sanguine.
Edgem and Tay both are out of the picture. 2 minutes, 5 seconds left. The second point already in favor of Sanguine, leading them with 1 point over Hype Unit. And it's looking good for them already. I mean, they've got the Dread Serpent, but that's the only ultimate as they have online. But if they use it well, they can gain a lot of mileage on that. Everyone on Sanguine are pretty much setting up right now, but nothing definitive right now. Oh, except for that.
Connect onto Stigma. That's a lot of damage that they can't use right now. Looks like they're actually giving up some ground. Sanguine Neo ran the wrong way, though. Goes down in vain, and now Sanguine have to back up or else they're going to keep getting staggered. Just like that.
Yeah, Neo, Poison go down. And now this is going to allow Hype Unit to pretty much push up, give themselves some space, and get a counter zone of their own that's going on right now. 1:20 almost available onto the clock. Good wall, though, on the Tay. He actually can't make it back over, but the Throner is just being able to actually push this long hallway right here. Fire Spit gets blocked by the shield. That could have been very, very dangerous for Stigma right there.
That was... My heart stopped at how quickly the Throner went down. I got some real Fernando feels in for a second there in vain. Catches Edge in the back, and they don't see Stigma in the main tunnel.
Oh, he actually misses the involuntary use, which allows Pain to actually pick up that kill. But the Throner's all the way on the back on Baller Steve. He tries to hit the combustible. Neo goes around. He's not able to hit the shots, but he is able to finish off Pain and well enough for them to be able to push back. The Throner's already back there. Pretty much the only frontliners are up. He's just going to converge on the Vayne. And I mean, Neo's just going to keep pushing.
This is really risky by Neo. He's finally getting the healing station, but all he can do is buy time here. They could drop for him, but looks like they want to play it safe too, even with their respawns coming. Handful of DPS is now able to finally spam. Tay waiting on Mount, using the third-person view to see what's going on, as you should. A smart play by him. And Hype Unit have to disengage. I guess I thought Neo was getting a little overzealous, but they did manage to retake this ground, and now they can potentially set this up for a conversion if they can get that cart moving again.
Charges the grenade, tosses it out, leaves both frontliners really low, causing the Barracks to really just use those boots to get right to that bridge. But Vayne's down. I mean, like I said, both of the frontliners were really low. No one's really pushing except for Neo. A good shot from Stigma is going to leave Pain at least at half, but he gets healed right back up thanks to T-Mac. And Edgem goes down actually on the side. Poison's actually able to get the kill. You see that? The shoulder bash actually charge out to save himself. He gets a kill on the Pan. And now Stigma finds one on the Tay. 3 kills in the name of Sanguine. Now the Throner's going to go down, and Sanguine are looking to push this one in.
This is a miracle. This is a miracle push that Sanguine are doing right now. They had no right with their Nanar going down immediately to convert that, but good timing on all his cooldowns on the cart by Neo. Poison found the opening up top. Everyone was too distracted with fighting the cart on Hype Unit's side. So Poison found the hole up top, picked everybody off who was just staring down, and Sanguine, in spite of everything, somehow convert that payload.
Yeah, I don't know what else it is that can be said about that you haven't already said there, Kresnik. I mean, Sanguine were able to get the picks. I felt like something was wrong when I saw Tay charge out of there. I was like, wait, what actually just happened? They were able to clean up those kills consistently. They were able to push in the payload. And right now, we see the Master Writings coming out. We see a lot of these items getting to level 2, level 3. But does anything stand out to you about this upcoming point fight so far?
I do want to say that the Master Writings are so much more important for Hype Unit than they are for Sanguine. T-Mac went Master Writing 2, so now he outpaces the members of the other team and will be able to potentially connect something, but he doesn't. He goes for the ult instead of the dismounts. That's going to make this mid so much harder for them. He could have held that for a combo, but he doesn't have it. There were so many ults online. Take a Dread Serpent before he can land it.
He actually, good Dread Serpent from Baller Steve. I actually realized that too. I saw that he actually didn't land the Dread Serpent, not the Dread Serpent, the Assert Dominance at all because he still has the ultimate. Good awareness from Baller Steve to know what was planned right there. The Undying goes out. He keeps everybody alive, but they still get rid of Vayne. Pain actually is watching this little corner right here. Dome Shield goes down again. So does Pain. So does Edgem. The Throner looks like he's going to be next. Shield Machine broke. Can't fix it at all. Now they're running at Tay, and he's going to have to back up as well.
The patient play from Poison is fantastic here. Just his ability to know when he should be re-peeking, when he should be fighting 2 fights in a row, one by the smart angles he decides to take. And now Hype Unit have a mountain to climb. They have Assert Dominance to do it, and no CC to stop him, but still 84%. Vayne now on the objective with all his cooldowns. It's all on to Tay here.
Yeah, now they're just looking directly at Vayne. Want to make him a target. The Assert Dominance actually all the way into the back, and he actually doesn't get the stun onto Baller Steve because of the Slither. Now the barrage is coming out. Good positioning from Edgem. He's able to get us a good barrage on the 2 of them. Payan gets a good fire spit. Now they're looking at Neo. Payan has to actually fly up to make sure he doesn't get hit. The scout comes out, gives himself a little bit more CC immunity, but 74%. to 99. Hype unit, it is in their favor right now, excuse me. Tay actually has to shoulder bash out, but still gonna get picked off by Poison.
Honestly, that fight almost got won by a miracle wall by Vayne. Because Tay didn't go for the point, he went for the back line. It's definitely the smarter play if you know your other players are gonna touch. But Vayne had a wall up that actually almost stopped Dethroner without perfectly blocking the barn. Maybe a little bit further back, actually stopping the exit from the barn could have saved it, but I think Dethroner just charged around it in time for it to be too tough. Now Sanguine on the defense, but it doesn't look like it. Just looks like they're trying to hold mid here, pushing them back. Dethroner finds an opening, but I don't know how much he'll be able to get other than pulling some members of Sanguine back.
Here we go with time and space, just barely whiffs. They are able to get Neo, but still they lost 2 members for that. They're gonna have to back up. Hype unit are gonna give him more space. The wall actually saves them instead, except for the Dethroner. They actually managed to get the wall on him the very last second. Pain is gonna be able to back off, but Tay, he's sitting right there.
They know.
No. Okay, yeah, they have to, right?
I think so. They were just looking back. I think they know. They're going to be paying attention to the card for sure.
Well, then what's... Well, Tay actually is trying to cut off somebody back there.
Yeah, he's going for the spawners because I don't think that they know. They just found
yeah, they just found out.
No back.
Okay.
I'm specifically saying it like this because there's going to be no back caps. I promise you. I told you before, it's not going to happen at this level for sure. And Tay does go down to the hunt from Poison. And now still holding this mid. That card has not moved an inch because of Sanguine's strong defense.
Yeah, not at all. 1 minute and 5 seconds left onto the clock. It's 2-3 right now, so I mean, Sanguine, they definitely only really need 1 more point capture to be able to capitalize and win their second game against Hype Unit. They've got the Dragon Punch on Hype Unit side, though. The Undying is almost up. You've got the Barrage as well. So, I mean, you've got some ultimates that you can definitely get a lot of mileage off of. But so far, nothing too crazy, except for this good push on the edge of him, but he's still going to be able to make it out.
And Vayne doesn't need to chase that. Just that wall forced. Ooh, he actually could have stayed there, I think. This might be risky crossing these angles. And it is. He does go down. Just that wall itself forced Edge off the high ground. I don't think he needed to recommit to the angles, but Edge still stuck on the ground. Goes down to the angles that Stigma himself is taking.
Stigma actually is in the back all the way with the invisibility. Barely misses the shot on T-Mac. They're just going to converge on him. The gall of this man to walk all the way to the back line invisible and try to get a point-blank shot onto the support. There is literally no end to this pressure right now.
Stigma walks into the club invisible and flare guns your girl. What do you do?
What do you do?
Apparently
Well,
peel and take him down. Neo is in the back right now trying to just distract them, and it's enough. Sanguine holds strong, and with 5 ultimates for both teams going into this next mid, it's really gonna come down to how effectively they use it.
Yeah, 35 seconds left until the match starts once again, but the rematch replay right here that's happening all the way in the back just shows the good positioning it is that Stigma had throughout this game. I mean, he gets a kill on the edge him, he gets a kill on the pan, and he's just looking good at the top.
Is he not running tactical retreat? Can I see his cards real quick? He is not running tactical retreat. And actually, that would have let him touch point there to contest. So, interesting choice going for the Dexterous instead. That's more for the burst damage, and I'm not sure if Relentless is super necessary, considering people tend to just quick scope a lot. But if he's used to it, gotta probably stick with it. Infused Crystal's also such a valuable card. And again, the Master Riding, much more useful for Hype Unit than it is for Sanguine because of the dismounts. Stigma gets knocked off. That 32 damage, much more meaningful than you think it is.
Yeah, I mean, once again, the fight starts off with a beautiful scout on Poison's behalf. I mean, he's got the record 3. Vayne's actually pushing him all the way into the back line. Through time and space as well to see if he can get a hit. But he does actually hit the Inara right there. He's going to be able to burst her. They're able to take care of her. And now the Dethroner is on the side. They use the Dome Shield actually to get dropped. Payan and T-Mac are just in the back fighting for themselves. They're doing pretty well.
Neo's Dome Shields have been pretty solid this game, but that was rough. I mean, now you don't have it for this retake. All they have to stop this that's alive and in the fight right now is Dread Serpent, but it's only going to hit Dethroner, who's got quite a bit of Resil on his side. That looked like Resil 3 with how quickly he recovered from that. A momentary jump scare for Dethroner. That's it. He's ready to go back in. Dragon Punch connects on Vayne, who got the touch in the back, and Edge gets forced out. The health on Sanguine is so low.
Good wall from Vayne. An even better kill for Stigma. Edge throws out the grenade, tries to get him. He does get rid of Baller's team, and he gets rid of Poison. The double kill right there. And of course, he's going to be able to get Neo. Neo's just pushed up a little bit too far, and now they're able to hold this as well as push it.
This is the power of that hit scan support to dismount. Literally, what do Sanguine do? Hype Unit is already in their windows by the time they get to mid, and they have no response. They have not even any of their DPSs could get off early in spam. There really is nothing they can do besides, I mean, I guess Strix could spam his pistol, but that's too inaccurate to guarantee that happens. Tay maybe getting a little overzealous. Huge damage from Stigma. Takes him down, and Sanguine might have found a foot to stand on.
Yeah, I mean, now they're able to push up. Now they're able to get back to this aggressive defense they've had before. They're staring at Pan. They're staring at their Throner. Stigma's in a good spot. So is Poison, especially with some of these records that they have. They'll be able to blow up that shield. He's standing a little bit too in line of sight. Pan actually pretty out there. I mean, he's able to get these good shots, but Vayne and Neo and Poison and the rest of Sanguine were able to block off Tay. They're able to get the kill on him, and now Dethroner has to back up. Did he use Seismic Crash and it hit Dethroner, or he just like
No, Dethroner charged out in time.
Okay,
Honestly,
I was about to say.
With the amount of resilience that Dethroner has, same result.
That's why I was
basically
asking.
the same.
That's why I was asking.
It more or less wouldn't have changed much. The only thing that those CC ultimates are going to do now against Fernando is put his shield down.
Right.
You can't hold it. It is a channeled thing, so it will be canceled if that does come and hit him. Sanguine, again, a good aggressive defense. Good pressure.
Nice
headshot. Headshot by Stigma, keeping him forward. Throner's still on mount, so they might be able to surprise somebody if they get a little overzealous.
Nice shot on the Tay. Because that record going to play a huge role because it's going to get rid of that shield Ash will be able to put down. The rest of them are pushing up, but they're just ignoring Stigma and Neo. They're just letting them get those shots directly onto the back. But they're able to at least get the kill on Poison, so that's definitely the start of something. They get rid of Vayne. Actually, Neo rushes right in there. Pan's just waiting for Stigma. Gets some rockets. He has to reload, but he actually swapped weapons right there. What is he doing? He's actually not even shooting him, but he still gets the kill.
They know Tay's been having a rough game, so they were trying to pad his stats. Like, Tay, quick, come here. Get Stigma. I'm here for you, buddy. But now Sanguine have to disengage a little bit. Cart, quite a ways to go with only 10 seconds left, but honestly, anything's possible on Ice Mines. If they win a clean fight here, they could keep this going as long as they keep finding the staggers on Hype Unit's side.
Yeah, Vayne knows he's right around that corner though. Drops down the field right there to slow him, prevent him from getting out. But not going to cripple, but of course they're going to be able to at least scare him away because Nard did some pretty sneaky damage. They're pushing the payload. Everyone's pretty much up on this bridge. I think it was Neo that just ended up dropping down. Dethroner's eating a lot of damage. He's standing right here, right around that corner to contest that point.
Vayne should
Make
back
sure he
up.
actually doesn't go down. But Dethroner's already dead, and that's going to be it.
Yeah, Vayne pushes in the choke and finds him. I was going to say, I actually thought it was a mistake for Vayne to contest as early as he did. Dethroner was so low. If he had just backed up, Dethroner would have to walk into a massive sightline for him to be able to keep this sustained. But it worked out. Vayne found the kill there, and this was that moment where, Tay, quick. I'm trying to pad your stats, buddy. But the heal came in at the last moment, I believe, to make it too tough for him to get that off. So, Tay's stats, though, not looking awful, looking very Ash, I would say. 7 and 15, but that's a lot of pressure he's putting on. Like, he's so crucial on these mid-fights, getting in so early, getting those assert dominances almost every single time. I wouldn't be too concerned about that with that kind of impact that he's bringing in. Again, it's going to be a 5 ult versus 5 ult mid-fight, but I gotta give the edge to Hype Unit again because of all these Master Riding 2s. Master Riding 3 from T-Mac just to get the dismounts earlier. That's how important they are.
Yeah, you see them zooming right now, boy. Woo! They actually are just all the way in there already. They're in their spawn.
Poison just made it to mid, and he's already ulting in their window.
They're literally all the way back there. Tay's back there, too. Use the assert dominance. They get the kill on the Stigma. Now here comes the Dragon Punch. He's looking for a target. He wants to be able to get Vayne. He actually uses the Undying to keep everybody alive. Actually, Tay and Dethroner were looking pretty low, so he used it to keep them alive, but at the same time, still wasn't enough. This could be it for Hype Unit. This might be their game to take.
The Dome Shield was able to delay their deaths a little bit, and it honestly depends on this Tay Stigma 1v1 in the back. The battering ram doesn't connect, and he goes down. 84% Neo has to touch, but he gets gripped, gets the failsafe. Vayne replaces him. This could be a chance for Sanguine.
They have a Seismic Crash. They can use it to stun him out, but they've got a lot of resilience. Dresser just for a split second, but no one's still able to touch the point. Vayne's too low. They use the Dread Serpent, but it's not even really worth it. Stigma's not able to get those shots. He's healing as many people as he can, staying all the way in the back, pumping Vayne full of healing in this case. Shoulder bash right on the Stigma. They have the Illuminate too. They know where he is. They see him. They're putting the damage onto him. They're throwing out the snakes. He's trying to get the stun. It's not going to be enough, and Hype Unit are going to be able to take this game.
Vayne gets off the point to try to save his teammate, and that's the smart play in the moment, but going down to save him and not having someone to replace on the point was honestly what threw things away for Sanguine. And again, I kept saying it because it really is that important. That's what happens when you don't have a support to dismount them on Ice Mines. They're in your base before you even get to mid. Right. And the mid fight is basically all that Ice Mines is at the end of the game.
And I'm glad that you mentioned the Master Riding too, because that played a very, very huge role.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw it, Master Riding 3. We can take a look at it again in the post-game stats as well as a bunch of other stats too. 174,000 for Pan. That was really, really good. And Baller Steve and T-Mac close in healing once again, actually. On T-Mac, I want to give him some respect because pulling out those damage numbers as Genos is not easy to do.
The healing numbers?
No, sorry, the healing number.
Yeah, I was going to
What's
say.
the damage number. Yeah, 32,000, man. I don't know about you, but that's pretty wild.
It's out there for sure. No, that's
Yeah,
great
that's a lot
healing
of
numbers for
healing.
Genos. I mean, almost 300K for Steve, but that was a very long, grindy game. And there's something about builds I wanted to see on the other side. I think it was the Nano build I wanted to point out. Brand 5. Brand kind of fell off for a little bit, but we're seeing it again. Still kind of bringing the sustain to the table that I think Defthroner needed to only die 10 times. Less than an Inara paired with a Damba, so that's pretty big. But against Inara Barrack, against two stationary, what we would consider a point tank, that Drogoz was so impactful with that combustible.
19 and 11 for Poison, but once again, back to Pan because the Drogoz played such a pretty big role right here. Actually tried to thread the needle with that Fire Spin right there, of course with the Dragon Punch as well. He's able to at least zone him out, but this is pretty much what Pan was doing the whole time. It's literally him just sitting right here, watching Barn, throwing out the Fire Spit, hitting the shots, blowing everybody up, and what else could you ask from a Drogoz? Other than getting the kills.
I mean, I could ask my Drogoz to like 1v5 and win the game alone. It won't happen,
Right.
but it's something I could ask
True.
for sure. And this is that pressure that combustible brought at the last moment. Again, Vayne disengages from the point to try to save his teammate, but Pan just runs in. Not only does Pan on Drogoz start his own team's overtime, kills the only person who's going to retouch. The other point tank's not ready. It's fast OT at that point. There's nothing they can do.
Right, exactly. I mean, that Fire Spit was, once again, huge towards the end. Managed to actually get 3 people. Vayne was already pretty low. That's when Baller Steve tried to use the Dread Serpent, and everyone was just like, cool. That was nice. Oh, cool.
That's how quickly I get scared.
Right, no, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, game 2 already in the books, 1-1. A very, very good set, actually, surprising too. I'll give credit to Sanguine where Sanguine needs the credit for sure. And in this case, right after this break, we'll be right into the third game.
SteelSeries, the official peripheral provider of the Paladins minor league.
Welcome back, everybody. After that war on ice mines, I don't know what else we could really expect for the rest of this set. It is for sure to be an instant classic between the 1 seed and the 2 seed here in North America. Traditionally going to Hype Unit's way. It could still today, but I think this is a performance that Sanguine can really be proud of.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's only 2 games, right? And they've
Yeah.
been able to kind of push it 4-3 both times, keep it really close. If they can keep up this level and instead just change that last point fight a little bit, then they could still feasibly win this set. And at the end of the day, being the first team to truly beat Hype Unit in this region would be pretty big.
This is crazy. I mean, this level of performance is something you can never really expect from a team like Sanguine, especially at this point in the phase when, frankly, there's nothing on the line except that pride, except the bragging rights. And that's always kind of been something that's at play. There's a lot of spraying in this set. These guys, play together, I think, on the same team. There's a lot of roster changes in the past. Not bad blood, but just emotion here. Emotion and passion between these teams. They want to beat each other to beat each other. Not because of anything in the standings, not because of any prize money. They want to beat each other for that pride.
Mainly, and also because then the next week, every time they're queuing up for rank together, Hey guys, remember when we beat you in minor league last week? Like, that's just gonna be what it is. It's a
Passive
lot of
aggressive
little fun.
tweets. I mean, you get all kinds of stuff.
Dethroner's been looking for more people to like harp on Twitter, so a win here is good for them, but Sanguine might be able to kind of take those rights away from them if they can find their win, keep themselves moving forward. And it could be really good. I mean, if they can put up this amount of a fight, it's such a good showcase as to how contested NA and EU can be from what we've seen out of their first and second seeds.
Frontline bans have been the story today, and it's been the standard fare of, you know, your Willow, your Makoa, your Atlas +1. Now that +1 has been a little bit of Khan. Now it's Ashe, Khan, Atlas, leaving Makoa open for Sanguine to take first. But as Hype Unit, our second pick, Gormizer, I never see that happen when it's not intentional. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hype Unit are aware that Makoa is open. They are aware Sanguine are probably going to first pick it, and they know exactly what they want in response to it.
And this is one of those moments, and this is where, in my mind, Sanguine have to kind of determine if they want Cassie or not. Hype Unit, Strix, Barrack, really good, but normally if you let Makoa through, you know, like you said, you have a plan for it. It's one of those moments where you have to decide, do we want that immediately? Do we show our hand? Maybe we're thinking of Sky. Maybe we're thinking of going big game Cassie. Either one of those is something that deals with Makoa. Cassie's the more common of the two, and you have to make that decision in that moment. Strix Barrack, Strix Cassie, Cassie Barrack. Like, how do we want to chop that up? Or else Sanguine can take it away, much like they're hovering.
Strix just appearing to be the universal Swiss Army knife. You can apply this guy to any situation, and he's going to do okay.
Yeah.
That's why you can pick him so early, where snipers have traditionally been something you've wanted to, outside of Timbermill, pick later in your draft, so you didn't make yourself susceptible to those early counters. Hype Unit have a very flexible draft at the moment, and then they could go for a triple DPS or pivot back into a double DPS, double frontline. But I doubt it, man. I mean, there's so many front lines banned.
Yeah.
It's like, which one would you want?
Who do you go to?
Plus, this is Ascension Peak. I mean, Eevee could frontline here for a little while if you needed her to.
If you really need her to. This is like, you're getting to the bottom of the barrel. You're like, do we want Terminus or Ruckus? How badly? Like, Ruckus could still fit in there.
Ruckus is open.
Kind of float that perfect line of he's a tank, but he does enough damage that we get kind of the best of both worlds.
Inara's open.
But it's up to Tay, or they could just ignore it all completely.
Trip it up, brother.
The biggest thing I actually have with this was Strix, Eevee, Drogos. Pan, in my mind, gets Eevee. I don't know where Tay goes. I don't know which one he's flexing onto, if he's flexing onto the Drogos or onto the Strix.
It's a good question. I would say it's probably easier to flex onto Drogos than it is onto an Eevee, and you gotta let your Strix player play Strix, right?
Yeah.
Edge him.
You can't strip it away
Well,
from Edge.
I don't know. Edge him would have more deep flexibility in the DPS category. It's hard to say at this point, and that's why we're gonna hop down to the casters and get in the game.
Thanks. Now we get to figure out what it is actually.
I'm pretty sure it's the Tagos.
Yeah.
I'm like 99% sure. I think we saw him play it before. I think that this is a flex that they've done in the past, and Tay Drogos is what I'd expect. We'll find out, of course, officially once we get in. But I think Nick was smart to be unsure, because Strix, I think, would be the common flex, but Hype Unit will play a little bit of anything. Honestly, I think they could have flexed it any way they want, but again, I wouldn't be too surprised to see Tay on Drogos, considering I believe we saw him play it on Serpent Beach in the past. And okay, I see his silhouette in the distance. He has a tail. Ladies and gentlemen,
it is Drogos.
It is Tay Drogos.
Yeah, okay. Well, there we go. We have figured out the mystery. Well, really, Kresnik has figured out the mystery behind who will be on this Drogos, and it will be Tay. He's already pre-firing over there, which is a pretty good sideline for him to already be watching. He lands one good rocket, two good rockets on the baller Steve, and he can't even really heal in this position. Look at the fire spit, nice finishing touch on the poison. Because of that, he's able to get a lot. Nice dodge on the hook, too. Okay.
I mean, Tay was if I remember, and I could be wrong about this, when Tay was under his alter ego party animal, I believe he was a blaster main. Like a blaster and flank main, so he still has that flex potential in him, which is really important for an off-tank player. Clearly it is in his pool. Now aggressive on the side, Salvo does not connect because Steve is so passive. So Hype Unit have pretty strong, solid control of this objective.
Stigma now looking out for Droner right there. He actually did take Impulse. I'm actually curious if he still has Impulse, if we can see that. Because the fact is that he took Impulse last game on Ice Mines too. So that's going to be really, really interesting. I mean, he's throwing out all these shots all over the place.
It's Impulse.
The Droner. It is, yeah. Oh yeah. It is Impulse. It is Impulse. So he actually does confirm have Impulse in this case. He's going to throw it out at the Drogos, or at least fire a few opening shots on the Drogos. And the Fernando's looking pretty low. Tay's actually finding a lot of open opportunities to just dive this back line, and Payan's going to be the one to finish off Fernando.
Yeah, Nando unable to get away from the aggression that DPS can have. You know, Hype Unit, so much mobility, so much control. Willow on the low ground with Inflame, not going to be able to do too much. Neo gets overwhelmed on point. Great hook. It's not going to matter too much.
Ceilings actually get thrown out in the direction where Neo was to try and cover for him, as well as Dead Zone. But Poison in a bad spot, caught without the flutter, gets Void Grip right up. Edge of pops him, and because of that, we now have a dead Willow.
Feels bad. Vayne dies, comes back to point,
Yeah.
touches the corner, immediately dies again. I mean, that's just what's going to happen playing a not super ideal point tank versus 3 DPSs. I'm not sure why they bypassed a Nara. I think they just didn't want to be so open to percentage health, or maybe just wanted to be less open to Drogos. But to me, Nando's just as open, as long as if you don't have your ultimate up. We'll have to see how Sanguine try to play around it as the game goes on. Happy to poking them out really effectively, but Sanguine have to find something quick. Actually, looks like they had Stigma up top alone. Does win the duel against Payan, though.
That's good for them. Sanguine are going to be able to push up against them unless Edgem is actually able to get this kill. He gets Void Grip right up, and at the same time, he is going to go down. Now Sanguine for sure have this zone that got him.
Yeah, they need to find some more picks, I think, to keep this going. Because if they let the DPSs on Hype Unit keep their distance, they're going to make it too hard for the tanks to stay alive. And Dethroner finds Neo, and they have to back up. Only Vayne left with a large health pool, and his Formidable gets triggered too, so his sustain is now even more low.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of damage. Vayne actually has to dash out, but he's right in front of Payan, who's going to use Wormhole to blink right back. Takes a little bit of dodge from that fireball. But Edgem is going to be able to get the kill on Stigma. So is Tay. Tay finds one of his own on the Poison, and now they're able to try and burn down Vayne. Neo is trying to at least peel back for Vayne, which he does to an extent. They're at least able to get rid of Edgem, but now here comes the Dragon Punch. It's at least going to be able to zone out a few people, and has his sights dead set on Baller Steve.
He was going to go for that Nando, but it just wasn't worth it. Great shots by Stigma to take down Tay up top. Now, look at that damage coming out from Hype Unit. I would say total control. Makoa being kept to under 10,000 damage currently, but the map's wide. It's tough for Neo to be able to find what he needs to. Stigma's trying to do what he can to make a difference here, and Sanguine do stabilize a little bit. Unit still have 40 seconds to find something else to make this happen.
45 seconds left, just as you said. The Ice Storm gets dropped down onto Neo. Of course, with Tay free-fired at the Makoa shield, is going to get broke. Because of that, Payan now has whatever opportunity that he wants to find against that Makoa, or at least to afford it to give himself some space, which he does. They are able to at least get a few shots onto the Makoa, force him back. And really just watch that left flank. Good shot from Edgem, though. They're at least able to get Vayne. Neo really trying to go for these hooks onto the Drogos because, I mean, you have to be able to pin them down. But in this case, it just backfires on us.
They don't really have a response to the Drogos otherwise.
Yep.
I mean, it has to be somebody dealing with them. Cassie, Willow. Cassie can hit the shots at medium range, but only can do so much. I mean, it's just stabilizing here. Great by Stigma. I mean, I talk about how hard it is to hit it. There he comes around the corner, just immediately taking Tay out of the sky.
Well, you got rid of one DPS. Now you got 2 more to deal with. Unless you deal with that frontliner, then you'll have a little bit of an easier time winning the round, getting this point, and tying it up 1-1.
Good attack by Hype Unit. Better defense, I think, by, I'm going to say by Stigma. Honestly, I mean, look at these stats. It really is kind of on Stigma's back right now, keeping his team in the game. It's going to be very difficult, I think, for Sanguine to find a stable mid. It's just what they do. I don't think they have an ability to cross a ton of distance. And the longer the fight goes, the better it's going to be for Hype Unit. They just want to stay back, poke you out. They have the better long-range poke. They're going to be able to burn down the right targets. Dethroner, Barrick, better at sustaining on the point than Fernando is. So it's just all the cards, I think, are in Hype Unit's hands.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, they even have the Dome Shield. They almost have the Dragon Punch. And they've got 3 time and space. I mean, Sanguine have all of their ultimates up and available, so they could definitely win the sustainability battle just purely based off Fernando and Makoa's ults alone. But, of course, you got situations like this where Stigma's just like, well, guess I'll die then, or when do I go? He's actually able to push out finally, uses the scout to open things up. Through time and space, falls flat, doesn't get anything. The Ancient Rage comes out as well. Actually, no, the Ancient Rage didn't come out. The Fey Flight did. Mako's looking pretty low. He's actually going to hold on to that for just a little bit longer. Inflame actually got used as well. And now Poison swapping targets onto Payan and almost dies for it.
The problem with the Ancient Rage is that they kind of have to, you can't use it when Dragon Punch is up.
Right.
Unless you want to also combo Immortal with it. That's not a great use of both of those ultimates if you have to stack them up to make them work. But actually, Dragon Punch is coming in early. It's going to be coming right into the Immortal.
Oh,
you had to hold
man.
on to it, but they just felt too pressured by the cap time from Sanguine.
99% to 3% overtime is done. Not even being able to be touched by Payan. Now we're at a 2-1 score for Sanguine. And they are looking really, really good. Or as American Khan will say, you're looking fine. That's the one, right? That's the one, right?
After hearing that, my brain has flashed to
What?
nothingness.
That's what he says!
No, I think you're right.
Okay.
You're right about that for sure. No, I prefer the completed line where he goes, the burgers are ready. That's the one I spam more than anything. But Tay finds a kill on a Poison on the side. Ancient Rage used. No one's in melee range. Neo's kind of just swinging, unable to hit much of anything, and they have to disengage here. Edge able to help them stabilize. Strix, such huge sightlines for him to take advantage of, and you know he's going to be able to connect those shots.
Yeah, they've got a minute 50 still, and Sanguine have plenty of opportunities to be able to still find their footing once again. Good shots all the way onto the back, but he misses the majority of them because the pressure, one, from the turret, and two, just the fact that you're fighting against Strix. It's going to be a lot harder for Cassidy to be able to land those shots. Inflame, though, is going to go out, and now they're looking at Stigma. He's waiting all the way in the back, actually gets a flashbang, a good headshot, and the turret gives a little bit more damage before Tay is actually able to finish off Stigma, but he used the Dragon Punch to try and close the gap between him and the frontliners, but they're just able to kill him. They waited for Payan on the wormhole, and they actually don't get him.
It was a sick ice block by Payan to block that hook, and now he can stay aggressive. He can keep pushing them on the side and not let them ever feel comfortable. He's going to do it in main instead because he knows the low health targets are the tanks, but Stigma on a flank actually forces Payan to go way up into the sky and back up. He's honestly been, I think, the saving grace for Sanguine in this game. At the start of that last mid, he's the one who kept Tay pressured out, who let his team kind of hold strong and not have to worry about that Drogo's raining down hell.
Yeah, Edgem is just all the way in the back, trying to find these opening shots. And he is, but they're not converting into anything. Vayne and Neo are just on the side in main, getting this pressure going. I mean, it is so hard for a Hive unit to really find their opening, but the fact that they are low, the frontliners are, that everyone's grouped up back there, if he gets a good fire spit, it actually just ends up hitting him. And in this case, though, but Payan is actually able to finish off Vayne right there. Neo is waiting around on the side. He's looking for the Drogos. He knows he's over there. He puts up the shield to prevent any more damage from being taken. And everyone's pretty much at a stalemate. No one can move forward. And they're really not even moving back because that gives them too much space.
I don't know if I like that dome shield from Dethroner. I feel like it's too close to the end, and they were holding so well before it, but I guess they just wanted to dissuade any other ultimates from being used. Great prediction rocket from Tay, and Vayne will follow most likely immediately. Poison's trying to equalize. Blastfire might give him an advantage here, but all the picks are going to Hype Unit.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to make it back, especially since they're all dead in this case on Sanguine's side. They've got Fey Flight. They've got Inflame, though. Two really, really good ultimates. But the one thing it is I'm looking for is the Inflame right there. Would you have just baited that? Would you have just like even if you really, really wanted to do it, would you have used the Dragon Punch to touch and then try and get the Fernando to bait out the ultimate? Or would you just have not done anything and just gave him that space?
You can definitely use the Dragon Punch to bait out the ultimate, but you have to turn around at the last second. And it is kind of precise if you're really trying to bait it, because a good Nando will just wait.
Right.
They'll just wait for you to get close enough, and then pop. If you turn away at the last second, they just won't pop it. And if they get the kill and then you trade it out, depending on how well your team is positioned after that, you can maybe still win even after that Dragon Punch connects. Vayne having a rougher game, 1-6 currently, but doing a great job, I'd say, sustaining on the objective. He's not going down super easily, and that's impressive against a damage-boosted triple DPS composition.
Really, there were 4 teammates that did have the damage that were right next to each other on Hype Unit side, but really, this Drogos and Cassie are battling it out right now, and so are they. Immediately with the Inflame, okay, the Dragon Punch actually gets used, but Tay's really just trying to reposition himself. Yeah, exactly. He's really just trying to reposition himself. The 3-time space actually comes through and actually manages to get Stigma right there, and that's going to be good for Hype Unit because now they're able to force the Fernando off of the point, but Caller Steve, good kill on the Tay. Tay an even better kill on the Vayne, though.
It has to be Steve dealing with Tay. was actually nobody else, and we saw Neo basically ineffectually shooting up at Steve that entire time. Ancient Rage forced a little bit off the point. Stigma there to back him up, but Pain's putting on so much around the corner. Poke damage, cauterize means he can't save Stigma, and he goes down.
Riding the sky right there. Kirby air ride is what I call that move there, where he's just pretty much diving in there, using the mobility, getting in there, getting right back out thanks to Wormhole.
I think we call it Sword.
Okay, well, I want to call it Kirby air ride in that case, but you're correct. That is the name of the ability right there. Poison is going to get a kill on the Dethroner. Edge's going to be able to pick it up and at least get the kill on the Neo. And at the same time, Sanguine are still going to come out on top. That was a good fight for Hype Unit, but they still lost it.
You know what would have been sick for sustaining that fight?
What?
Dome Shield.
Yeah, that's crazy. Where'd it go, Kresna?
I used to pressure a little bit on the hold. I don't know if it would have made a total difference. Sanguine seemed to have pretty decent control on the back of Stigma, kind of living through quite a bit. He did go down to Pain a little earlier, but the rest of the team held strong and made something work. Steve gets Pain again. I'm honestly surprised that their draft is doing as well as it is. I almost feel like kind of just a heroic play for Stigma a lot of the time, but T-Mac catches Stigma right after the roll. No somersault to get him out when you get bursted from full to zero, and the pressure from Hype Unit is there to hold him strong.
Void Grip already on the poison, which forced him to use the flutter, which means that Tay has an easy target. A good hook on the Pain actually just leaves the ice block right there. The rest of Hype Unit are able to follow up to make sure that Neo does not get that kill. He's fired directly at Pain. Good grouping up. I mean, we're good grouping up from Hype Unit, not as good grouping up from Sanguine, because they're the ones that are going to end up losing that fight. Tay gets the dismount on the poison, and now they're pretty much just waiting.
Yeah, Tay can sit back for a while, just spam, bide time. He doesn't need to build ultimate or anything, already has it. Probably going to save it for the Ancient Rage, though. Scout comes in, potentially counter with Dragon Punch, but they know where he's coming from. He's got to be careful. Already takes half his HP. If he goes down during it, he'll lose all of it, but he gets away, saves the 30% for the next fight. If there is another round after this, Sanguine, they're still moving forward. They still have potential to touch this objective and keep this round going.
They are. Stigma was able to get such good shots onto that Drones while he was trying to back up. And it really showed right there. I mean, Payan is engaged on the side against the Makoa, against Neo, but Bane went down. You got rid of Poison. Now Neo's on the side. Now he might actually have to back up, but he's actually winning that trade. And Edgem already just running down Baller Steve at this point. They're just able to pretty much converge right on the Neo. Good flare and good follow-up from Hype Unit.
This is one thing that Strix can do that very few DPSs can really get away with. He has just so much raw damage. Sometimes he could just walk at you. I mean, Cassie can do it too, but that's usually kind of on the back of tricky movement with your mobility. You know, Leon maybe has the light Mitch, she can get away with it. Strix literally just doesn't care. I mean, he just walks in and just says, I have the most damage in the game. Goodbye. You are gone. And Edge now kind of protecting the cart, knowing that Vane's behind, knowing Vane has to touch, so he's going to win for that fight. Strix definitely wins that, forces Vane away, and there's nothing he can do to touch.
Yeah, Payan gets rid of Neo, and Stigma got rid of Tay at the very, very last few seconds of that round. But Vane tried to go around for at least like the back cap. But I mean, Edgem was already aware of that. And actually, all of Hype Unit except for their support are at the top of the damage charts right now.
Yeah, and that's not surprising.
No, it's not.
I mean, being Luminary boosted, it does make sense. And if you look at the slash lines on the side of Sanguine, it doesn't look like they were the ones in control for 2 rounds in a row, but the objective pressure they had is it's more than enough. They have people constantly trading on and off the point, and the amount of people that can do it on Hype Unit, it's really kind of only Dethroner. Pain can get the OT touches, but no one else can really live on that point. They don't have that burst heal that you need to kind of have someone else supplement if your front line goes down. So Dethroner has to play careful here because they don't want to let this final game-deciding round slip out of their hands because of point control.
Yeah, Vane is just waiting right there directly on the point. 9% for him already. Nothing too crazy. He's pretty much just dipped his toe in the water right there. But a good kill on the Payan, though. Good focus, good awareness on them to be able to take care of Payan. And they actually just hit Tay right above that little house right there. I mean, I don't know what Hype Unit can do.
I don't know either at this point. They have their time and space. They have 4 ultimates. Only Dome Shield was used to no effect, more or less. Payan now flying up, maybe trying to get into a position where he can get on the point, but Steve is still waiting there, and Steve is like 8-2. Hook on Neo stops Payan. That's the best person to touch the objective, but the Thorner made it in the back.
90%. Tay's already there. He has to use the Ancient Rage they're just going to use everything. They're just going to throw everything at the wall here, whether it hits or not. They want to make sure they can capitalize on this point. Void Grip on the Neo, kill on a Baller Steve, a kill on the Tay, but Hype Unit already come out with 2 lives traded for their 1. and they're still looking good. They're not even done yet. They get the kill on the Stigma. Now Vayne's right there in that stairwell. He's going to have to back off.
They didn't zone blue. How do you not zone blue? You have to watch all the angles. Let them not be able to touch the objective. The only angle that could have let the thrower get in wasn't watched. And now Vayne has to throw his life away just to get this overtime. And it went too early.
Yeah, he has to actually touch it. So does Neo. They're able to get it, but once again, they went too early. They're not going to get an overtime. And now Payin is just watching out for Poison, watching out for Baller Steve. A good flashbang get to the back. Literally, Furia can't peek to heal Poison in this situation, and Hype Unit win.
That game slipped out of Sanguine's hands.
It did.
That game absolutely did. I think Sanguine had a great potential there, but not zoning. And to get the overtime on the point, you have to touch it 87%. The other team can get off and reset it, but the last moment you can touch, or the earliest you can touch without throwing yourself away, is 87.
Yeah.
Sanguine ran into the objective on their retake at 71.
Right.
That's at least 2 more seconds that their DPSs could have taken angles, could have been set up, but both tanks ran in a little bit of a panic.
Right.
And Sanguine just didn't have the best retake they could have.
You're right, and we're going to take a look at the post-game to see truly more of the story here. Edge of 137,000 damage. I mean, we had already talked a little bit about the damage in this case. I mean, we talked about the fact how Luminary is pretty much just buffing everybody, making it all worthwhile for him. And we see it right there as most of them are in triple digits. Everyone except for Tay, but he still has a pretty high damage number right there. And the slash lines are looking even better for him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
4-3 and 45.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's just Genos constantly getting every assist in a triple DPS. You know, your DPSs are getting all the kills. You're marking all of them all the time. You're definitely going to have a stat line that looks like that. I wanted to also point out that Steve outdamaged Neo.
Yeah.
Steve had a fantastic performance on the Furia, and I mean, I guess that makes sense. One character that he has to hard counter himself, and a flank that's constantly diving. Definitely going to be getting a lot of damage and a lot of kills on that side, but one of the stories of this current meta is Strix and Edge. I was talking about it before, was just able to kind of walk in and get away with so much without being punished.
Yeah, he was able to position in ways that made it harder for them to hit him, but made it easier for him to hit them, which is why he was up a lot of these high ground spots, literally hiding around corners, making sure he was able to literally when he was needed, he was there. And then this is just when they just end up rushing them, and you see the power it is. That's I was about to say Stigma because I'm used to seeing the sniper on him at this point.
You could actually rename the character to Stigma and it would probably have the same effect.
Yeah. Strix, though, definitely a powerful character. I mean, you saw the rotation of this. He was actually able to put out. The damage he puts out is absolutely insane, too. Makes literally anyone scared of him when he's on the field.
And the tactical retreat that Edge had in his build, too, gives a lot of rotation potential. Something that wasn't being run on the last map. Could have helped out a little bit, but it really let Edge kind of take a lot more angles that otherwise wouldn't have been able to go to.
Well, a closer set than probably any of us would have expected. Hype Unit are now up 2 to Sanguine's 1. Right after this break, we'll see if Sanguine can end up tying up the score.
Paladins Minor League is brought to you by Evo Mojo Games, developers of Paladins.
Just got up, something's wrong. I waited up with wounds on my feet. Where will you be? Flickering through memories, the Polaroids yellowed in the sun, longing to be seen. So come and hide, hide with me, hide with me, hide with me. Come and hide with me, hide with me, hide with me.
Back and forth they go, folks. Either team taking games seemingly at random. I mean, these are just all-out wars, and somebody barely stands tall at the end of it all. That is an incredible take-back, though. I have to give all the credit in the world to the Hype Unit boys. I think it only makes sense that Payan was kind of the first one to feed in that final fight and die, and then he was kind of the guy that catalyzed it and got that take-back fight going and actually happening and giving his boys a real shot at getting that point back.
Use the fuel of the death to energize himself to come back in and be like, all right, no, we're not ending it on that note. But it's impressive, I think, from both sides. Hype Unit, I think, rallying together at the end is essential for that victory, but Sanguine being able to push them to the limit once again, keeping them there. I mean, this is 3 4-3s in a row, and, you know, I mean, when you look at their set scores, the bunch of 3-2s that have come through with it, it's not surprising to see these guys going head-to-head and kind of taking punches off each other. The only thing that will be surprising is if Sanguine win 2 more and finally take a set.
Yeah, man, none of these team fights are coming for free. You really have to fight for them.
Yeah.
And historically, this has, again, been a matchup that has gone the way of Hype Unit. They have not lost a single game all phase. The only one that's appearing that way on the standings is one that they didn't show up for and got disqualified for. So this is actually kind of for the marbles. This is for the only true loss that has ever been handed to Hype Unit. Sanguine need to fight back now, though. Their backs are against the wall. All of these games have been 3-4s or 4-3s, depending on your perspective, and I don't expect Frozen Guard to be any different.
Now, this is one of those other maps that falls in there. So Jag Falls, out of the 4 maps that are on that list, is the most un-4-3 of all of them, but still, we see a lot of these maps, especially on Jag Falls lately, kind of going that distance unless the team really has a solid draft. But going to Ice Mines, that's a typical 4-3. Ascension Peak is a typical 4-3. Frozen Guard should be and could be.
Look at this.
And has also managed to avoid every tank ban. Like the Matrix. Just
the bans have certainly evolved in this set. It started off as your standard fare plus 1 additional strong off tank. It kind of evolved to get even closer and closer to entirely tank bans until last game when the script was kind of flipped. Makoa made it through. Maeve was banned out. Now we've got Eevee, Cassie, Strix, and Genos all taking a seat. Atlas and Makoa have already been snapped up naturally. Maeve, though, fairly early as well. Sanguine hovering a triple front line extremely early on.
There's like so many things that are firing off in my brain telling me analysis about this, but I don't know which one's the most important. I think Maeve is maybe going to come out to me as the most essential for this, mainly because she is so solid on this map. But playing her into triple frontline, specifically into the Atlas, that's something I don't know how it will work here for Hype Unit.
You are not welcome
putting
here.
it on Payan as of right now. Could be Edgem, depending on how they flex around for that one. And it's becoming more and more essential to think how to beat a triple tank, how to take them down. I can't believe I'm saying this. It might just be residue from Console League yesterday. But Skye works pretty well on Frozen Guard and can do pretty well against triple tank.
You need some type of Buster or AoE punish. Eevee's banned out. Drogos is on the board. Fisheko's been able to do it. I don't know if Payan's up to the task, if he feels comfortable running that on this map. It's definitely not very common. Vivian was another character we talked about. Incredibly good shield buster. And just tank burner in general. It feels like Hype pivoted mid-draft, though they're trying to catch up and react to Sanguine, who definitively said, we are running triple frontline here. Makoa is not particularly good into other front lines. He likes to dive in there, right? Mix it up in the back line. Maeve, as all the other flankers, right? They're either okay or bad. I mean, do you think this is enough? Is this a big enough pivot for Hype Unit?
I think a lot's going to have to depend on that Vivian, but Maeve, Makoa absolutely can lock down Leon Ying. It's dealing with Barrick, dealing with Khan, which Vivian will do well once she gets Wrecker online, so they're looking for another longer game.
It's a great concept here. Sanguine have made a definitive point to grab triple frontline here. Let's see if they can pull it out on Frozen Guard.
I don't know if that's necessarily, I don't agree with the triple front line because of the fact that, I mean, they have characters that can just burst them down.
I think they just want to end the game before that's a factor. I think that's what it comes down to, using the speed from the Atlas shield beyond the Veil, their entire team, into whoever's going to be a threat, and they have the Leon to deal with that Maeve, the potential person to kite away and slow them down. It's going to be on the Leon. So the talents here, Temporal Divide. It's going to be used to boost everybody on all sides of the map. Standard otherwise, passive Makoa play could keep things a little tougher. For Sanguine, make it harder to do, but this pressure.
Oh, nice rewind. Nice. Yeah, that was absolutely amazing from Neo to land that rewind. They're able to actually burst them down, get rid of the Throner, and now you see the rest of Hype Unit have to give them that space. They have to respect them. They don't have their point. They don't have their point tank as much anymore. So now they've got 42% on the point for Sanguine, and Hype Unit only have 9% because of that.
Sanguine get a full tank in every lane. Poison has to give it up a little early. Calls that they're stacking, which goes that way, but the hook not connecting means that it's going to be a lot easier for them. That guaranteed pick is off the table.
Yeah, here comes the shield from Poison, though. He actually has to move out of the way of that. He doesn't want to get too focused down. Tay's staring him down. I mean, like, they're really just sort of filtering into this one little spot right here while Hype Unit are able to actually build their percentage. Now Makoa can back up. Now he can shield so many different targets. But this is where they want to be. They want to be sieged up right here, especially with their Vivian and just free firing.
They're getting forced back on Sanguine, and I think they need to find an opening quick. This divide might be what they need if they can get speed boosted in, but they have to find a target quick, and Pain's the first one to go down.
Oh, nice. Another good rewind on the Dethroner, which sets him back to the health he had beforehand. They use the inflame through the wall, but the overpower comes through. Now they take care of Edgem on the Vivian. Now they get rid of Dethroner. You took care of 2 individuals. Now you're looking at a potential third, or not even that, but a point capture.
And the setback stops Tay from having a chance to touch, even if he wanted to go through main. Just T-Mac stuck in main. Going to get away, but Vayne wants those credits for now. Still, not able to find him. T-Mac barely making it out. Good positioning now. This is kind of what they have to do. They want to take some ground, but he doesn't see the Throner coming in on the side, and he's going to get pinched and most likely go down.
Nice. He's going to throw out those daggers for sure. Get him really, really low, and the T-Mac's going to be able to land the finishing blow. The Fire Shock actually stuns Neo right there, and they actually take care of him immediately after that stun. Pain, though, man, just get the kill on the Poison, and now Hype Unit are able to push them. They've got Ancient Rage. They've got, well, they had Sentinels. Vivian just popped them. They've got the Seismic Crash. They've got Midnight. So they've got a pretty good use of ultimates that they could have.
Steve gets pinned and staggered there. Tried to use the illusion to teleport out with Dimensional Link, but unable to do so.
Oh, it's going to be good.
You want to keep this stagger going. Seismic
Nice
Crash
rewind.
dodged by the second chance there from Neo, but he's just caught completely in, and Atlas doesn't have a good answer to a strong backline.
Edgem pushes up a little bit too far, manages to get that damage, but he's not able to actually escape with his life. Stigma literally in the same boat right there. A little bit too aggressive. Has to use the Enlightenment to keep himself from dying just for a split second, but he's still going to go down. Divider goes up. He's going to at least be able to block the shots that would be coming up towards the top. Pain actually getting really, really aggressive on the side. Goes down. And Sanguine, if they end up getting a few more of these kills, they're going to be able to have plenty of time left. They still have a minute left.
I was going to say, I've seen a lot of aggressive defenses lately, but I don't think I've seen the in the enemy spawn on Frozen Guard level of aggression before. That card almost all the way back to the initial point. T-Mac does not make it away because of the presence coming in from Stigma. So now Sanguine have a potential chance to keep this card going, but only 35 seconds to break through one of the better defensive points in the game, I would say. Some people are saying it's starting to become even harder than Ice Mines to push through. Not sure about that, but teams are kind of seem to figure it out on the defensive side.
Right. I mean, a good hook onto the con on the side. They're able to at least pump Poison full of damage in that case. The Divider goes up in that little mine shaft, so no one can really fire at him. So they definitely have to back up. They definitely have to give them the space. And Stigma is just free firing into that back line, but so is Edgem. Edgem's really just keeping a lookout for the Leon, but a lot of damage comes onto the Dethroner. And he actually used the Earthen Guard to keep himself alive for just a little bit longer, but they still are pushing in the cart.
And that means he won't have it to contest the objective too. Tay is close, could look for a hook potentially, but the health is good across the board. Hook the only person who can get away from it for free. Tay's gonna go down. Even with the wall in on Stigma, this is still pretty solid for Sanguine.
Yeah, Neo actually got rid of Tay, so that's gonna be pretty huge, but Hype Unit have to fit his advantage. They actually use the Seismic Crash to try and get people off of the point, or to try and zone them out, or get the stun, and they're able to. But they were able to clutch that round out at the cost of an ultimate, and a really good one at that.
Yeah, the pressure that they put onto Steve made it very difficult here. Great. Not even a fully charged shot by Neo there, just a long-range 3 burst to take down the Throner. This is that overpower that I think made a really huge difference. I think if that inflamed Vivian got to shoot for even 2 seconds, I think this fight could have gone the other way. The health, it would have just absolutely melted, but Atlas showing the impact. Really just such a strong tank. And there's a reason it gets banned in triple frontline, being able to speed boost everybody all at once. It's so impactful having that much health just running at you at that speed.
Right. I mean, the slash lines are looking pretty good on Sanguine's side, too. They're doing good all around, but that's the thing about triple frontline is that you got to win that early game. Can't let it go on for too long. Otherwise, the frontliners are going to start falling off. But it seems like they're doing a pretty good job as is. Even with the score being at 1-1, Neo opting to go for the same route. He's actually all the way in the back on Pay and dismounts him. Inflame goes out. And for that brief second, he wasn't actually able to follow up on that. He wasn't actually able to help out his team near the point or even in their own base. And because of that, they're able to take care of Vayne. Vayne tried to use Dome Shield at the very last second, but it's going to get refunded to him.
The longer this fight goes, the worse it is for Sanguine. They're not contesting the objective, and they're going to just keep getting staggered with no answer. Poison maybe makes it out to the spawn. Steve is going to be caught in and die with at 60%. That means no sustain for whoever tries to touch the objective.
Nice.
Even with this overpower, I don't know if they're going to have a chance to keep the point touched. I mean, Vayne's there potentially to go in with Dome Shield, but he might just go down without any healing.
Right, and with the score being at 1-1, I mean, they still have plenty of time to make it back, even if Hype Unit do die. 93% to Sanguine's 6%. Hype Unit are definitely in the lead in terms of percentile, but he has to use a Dome Shield to zone him out. And they really gotta force him as far back as they can. A good kill on the Pain, though, is going to stagger him out, so it's definitely going to halt Hype Unit's aggression that they could have coming into this next fight.
A little bit less than ideal zoning, I think, from Hype Unit. All they had to do was knock the Barrack off the mountain. I think they could have forced a much worse situation, but going that early, having the Dome Shield when he did, bought enough time for the healer to get back. Exile now being used to stop the touches, but they're going to focus on the other side instead. As long as they get somebody on the point, it doesn't matter. They have that overtime that they can play with.
He used the battle shot to give himself some immunity, and now he's just opening fire on the Tay. He will go down. The Makoa is done, and the overtime is going down as well. When the Inflame comes out, I mean, they're using a lot of ultimates. This fight, for this point, is so important coming into this next battle. Good daggers from Payan all the way in the back, but Stigma goes right around. Better daggers, lands all 4 of them, really 5 of them, to be able to make sure he can burst Stigma down to nothing.
They have a second retake. With that second Inflame they managed to charge during this fight, I think that made a huge difference. T-Mac having a great game so far in terms of the healing he's able to output, and honestly only being 14k damage behind the Atlas. Actually, the Ying is only 16k damage behind the Atlas. I think that actually might be crazier, but still a good performance by him. Only 1 death in the face of an aggressive triple frontline draft. And we're in a good place, I think, to keep this cart moving. We can stack it a little bit, get some extra credits. And Vivian there on that close corner, it's going to be tough, I think, for Sanguine to contest the payload.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the Sentinels. They've got Illusory Rift. Really, both teams only have 1 ultimate. Sentinels were chest pops, so really now I have a team. Well, Hype Unit have no ultimate. Sanguine still have their sustainability. They still have the power to actually be able to hold some of these flanks. A good hook on the Poison. The shield goes up. Battle Shout comes out. Illusory Rift gets used to try and keep him alive, but it's not going to be enough. The illusions are stacked on point for Vayne, but the shield is going to get melted. This is why you try to end it fast with that triple front line, because it's working out for him. But with a kill on Dethroner thanks to Neo, that's looking really good for Sanguine.
Even just the fact that these rounds are going long is making it much harder for Sanguine. They need to have no wreck or pain, just a heroic dive and actually get Stigma in the back. Edge is now going to have a much better idea. Take it to Hook, pulls Poison down to the cart into Edge's line of sight. Neo's trying to do what he can, gets healed up. Edge so low, but the shielding and healing from the Fury is keeping him alive.
Here we go with the Ancient Rage on point, not only to keep himself alive, but to make sure he buys time until this happens. The Throner gets back. The Overpower does get landed on Edge again. They're able to pick him up, which that's going to play a very huge role into this very end of the game. Well, not end of the game, but end of the round fight. They're trying to fire at Pain right there, and he's going to get away just barely, and they get the kill on the Vayne.
Hype, I was about to say Hype has a chance, but they have more than a chance. They're taking this even without their healer. Throner and Neo Throner and Pain finally go down. They had a shot there, honestly, with the daggers that Pain was hitting, but 30 seconds remaining means Hype didn't have another chance at this if they can mount back in time. Unlike Ice Mine, it's a lot harder to set up that aggressive defense on this map, so even though it's a long way back, they're going to be doing it relatively uncontested, but they might have to make kind of a desperate play to be able to start that overtime.
Yeah, 10 seconds left on the clock. They might be able to make it back, but I don't know if they really can. Dethroner's making his way back. He used the DR at the perfect time, though. That's going to be good. He is able to make it back, and he uses the Inflame. He actually ate the rewind, so Neo can't send him back. Because of that, they're just able to sit on the point, and Payan's on the side, applying damage to Neo, definitely forcing him to think twice about his positioning. Good daggers onto Vayne as well. Payan's in the perfect spot right now.
Yeah, but he's not going to be able to do too much. They're kind of just getting healed up. Vayne is literally AFK, standing above the cart, just contesting it with the healing station. Hopefully, for Sanguine's sake, they don't have to spend any ultimates here, and they won't with that great dive from Stigma, picking up 3 kills.
Nice job from him. It's going to be able to keep it so close. 2-2. Hype Unit versus Sanguine. Man, this is a good set. And I'm glad it's a good set because, contrary to popular belief, I mean, Sanguine is I personally believe, a really good team. They have good players.
I don't think that's an unpopular opinion or anything. I mean, most of the matches between Sanguine and Hyper are pretty close across the board. I think only one was a blowout.
They are, but part of the reason as to why I say that is because of the fact that Hype Unit still has yet to lose a game. They've still yet to lose a set, and they've gone undefeated for so long. So Sanguine being able to do this, and like you said, they have kept it close, and they have really kept it close, but it's still a good set overall for Sanguine to be able to pull this out and be able to try and give Hype Unit a run for their money.
Honestly, maybe that forfeit loss that Hype Unit took
might
be giving Sanguine that boost. It's like, hey, we're not going to be the first L, so let's go for it, make it work. Sanguine contesting the objective a little bit, but has to give it up to the Throner. They can repush once this wall is down. It's a chance that they have. They're going to have to walk through the wall. That is Vivian, opportunity, and chaos damage.
And Neo's waiting on the side. A good overpower again, but this time it's on a team mag. Except Tay and the rest of Hype Unit are gonna try to follow up. They kill him just in time to be able to find that opening. They get rid of 3 targets already. Now Neo's the only one that's left. He puts the divider out, rewinds to give himself more health back, but they're all over him. They're over Baller Steve too. 48% to nothing, and steadily climbing for Hype Unit.
That overpower was so in the open. Neo maybe could have used the Exile to stop the people from diving to save him, to keep Poison alive, but fortunately, hindsight 2020 not able to be done in the moment. Now a very aggressive zone from Hype Unit. Tay kind of in the middle of the team, dodges the commander's grab and potentially gets out, which means that if they can get the stagger kills, this is going to be a potentially great offense for Hype Unit.
Right, I mean, they've got where they want to be at. Payan over here, once again, on the left flank in this little mine shaft right here. He's going to try and go around. Vayne knows he's there. He's watching it. He's going to back up, though. And the payload's moving ever so slowly. But everyone on Hype Unit is pretty much biding their time. Sanguine are really just trying to put on pressure, pre-firing around corners, trying to make sure they're not peeking anywhere. And, of course, they're just waiting. They're just waiting for the opportunity for the payload to get there so they can slowly start making their grounds and move forward.
We're finally at the point where the payload will be getting contested.
Right.
And now we'll see how much damage they can do to the people pushing. The Throner already very low. Furion needs to top him off to keep that cart moving. But he rotates to the mines. Maybe they can find Vayne. Vayne's already half, and I don't think he knows he's getting flanked.
Oh, the Inflame comes out. The seismic crash as well. Now that you're going to focus on Vayne. Good job from him. The shield almost kept him alive. Just barely. But Edgem just free firing at this point. This is the point in the game where it becomes an issue. This is where it starts becoming a problem. The Illusory Rift just got used a little bit earlier, but the point is being contested. But Sanguine are not able to keep up with the pressure that Inflame, that all of these ultimates are able to provide. The space they have made is enough for Hype Unit to take game 3.
Vayne just couldn't make it to the point to use Dome Shield at the last moment.
Right.
He tried to literally, because of the Warders field in the way, he walked, landed on the ramp. By the time he hit the ramp and was able to use Dome, he was dead.
Right.
He immediately got burned down by the damage that Hype Unit had, and that was just a great execution at the end by them, I think. The seismic crash, just barely catching Vayne in front of that temporal divide, meant that he was so much lower, went down first, and he's their most sustainy tank. He's the person that has to stay alive the longest. So him going down first was honestly the beginning of the end for Sanguine.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at the post-game and see what the stats have to tell us about how that game went overall. Edgem pretty much topping the damage charts right there. I mean, that Vivian, and I had said it before, but having this triple front line, so important. And you said it as well in the beginning. They have to win early. When you have games that go on that long, it's a problem. And Edgem's showing that with the Vivian. I mean, even Tay, even Payan, and the slash lines too, it is hard for triple frontline to be able to try and win these extended battles.
And looking at the slash lines here, I mean, honestly, Payne did a little better than I expected. Not because of Payne for any reason. Obviously, he's an amazing player, but just the draft they had on the other side. Leon is usually so good at countering out Maeve, but he made it work on this very open, very flat map, constantly connecting these daggers across the entirety of the field. And that's honestly what you have to do if you want to make Maeve work against a strong counter like Leon.
I mean, this is just literally, he was just on the left flank, just waiting, throwing out these daggers the entire time. And he was always so well positioned literally throughout the entirety of this game. He was able to get aggression like that you had said you had like really had never even really seen before. Gets 4 straight daggers, a 5th one to finish it off. And I mean, Payne was playing, I believe, at his peak right.
That was actually a sick dodge onto the presence from Stigma too.
Yeah.
I didn't really mention it at the time, but great
the
kiting there, yeah, with the prowl. Also a good kill from his team there, gets exiled, and just the entirety of his team stacking on top of him, and Nara, Makoa shield keeping him from getting pressured too much.
Right.
That's the hype unit that we're going to be seeing.
Yeah.
Moving forward in LAN, that's the hype unit that's going to need to play if they want to have a chance to make it through the HRX qualifiers.
I'm excited for sure to see how they're going to be able to fare against a lot of these high-octane teams. But that's going to be it. Game 4 already done. The entire set. Hype unit actually just ends up winning it in this case. We're going to cut right to a quick break, and then we'll be back. And then we'll be right back with some more PML.
SteelSeries, the official peripheral provider of the Paladins minor league.
So you had me by